All right. Put the phone back on. All right, we are taking us live in 5, 4, 3. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's Mobility Tech and Connectivity Show. This is our live weekly webcast that focuses on people, ideas, and technologies that influence how we are connected and the way we get around. I am Ryan Girardi. Thank you for joining us. Today is Wednesday, October the 28th, 2020. Happy Hump Day, everybody. And Ring a Bell Day. Today is Ring a Bell Day. So we're going to find a bell and we're going to ring our bells. And that's what we're going to do today. But also on today's program, this is Used Car Week. Every week, we focus on a different theme related to automotive, mobility, and transportation. And today, this week, is Used Car Week. So that'll be our discussion group. I have Mike Phillips in the wings from McCloskey Motors out in Colorado Springs. Going to be joining us right away for a brief little catch up with him. And we have Ty, the transport guy, Thompson, who's part of the discussion group on the transport side. So he'll be on with Mike and I and Jay Wertzberger co-hosting with us today. Back, Jay, if we want to go ahead and get your camera going, we'll get you going on the show.
Check.
There he is from Kansas City.
On? How's it going?
Pretty good. Great to be here with you. With you not being here every week, it seems like a long time between seeing you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
So it's good to have you back.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me back. So last Wednesday was my first DOT compliance show.
Right?
Yeah. And that was pretty interesting. That was a great show. So so I'll see you every other Wednesday, and it's great to be back. Thank you so much.
And Jay is host of Auto Transport Intel. He has a big show every week, Tuesday nights live. That Mike Phillips was on, who's going to be here in a moment. So we're going to recap last night's show with Jay as well. But today, just give you a head. Like I said, we have our it focuses on used cars. So we're going to look at the U.S. car market as a whole and its path to recovery. We have an update on the auction lanes, volumes there continue to lag. So Ty will be able to chime in with that. Used car e-commerce platform Shift goes public on Nasdaq. So we'll mention that. And also CarLotz goes public under a merger there, a used car consignment store. And a little bit of fun news at the end. We have a new car carrier in Sweden. It's the world's largest wind-powered vessel to carry cars. So that is out as well. We are streaming live on YouTube. So if you're here, say hi in the live chat. I'll bump over there. Jay helps monitor that as well. And I'll say hello. And look in the video description. There are links. And one of those links is if you want to get up here on Zoom and be part of the show and be part of the discussion group with us, you can. There's a link to register there. That'll automatically generate your Zoom access. And you will be able to do that as well. Now, this is recorded. And then we feature the show on the Auto Converse podcast. And then we feature the discussion groups on the Dealer Talk podcast as well. And before we bring Mike on, just a couple of things. If you go to autoconverse.com and you subscribe, then you will have the ability to be notified about what's coming up on the show each week. Emails go out automatically. And, right now we are this time next week on the show, the election day will have passed. We're going to talk about voting and early voting and all that. But by this time next week, election day will have passed. And I think the big question is, will we know who? Will we have a result? Will we know the outcome? I don't think we will on Wednesday of next week. I don't think we're going to know the outcome. Could be wrong. I hope that we do.
No, we won't. I mean,
I don't think we will either, do you?
Yeah, it's gonna be like Bush v. Gore, 10x.
Yeah, I was gonna say 10x, man, 10x. Mike, I'm bumping you up to panelist just so we can get you part of the discussion. But like I said, if you're subscribed to the blog, you'll get notified. Be sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, and also get out your cell phone, text the keyword auto converse to 64600. In fact, I think somewhere up here.
646.
I don't even know where it is. I thought
00.
Let's try it. Boom. Oh, it is up there. Here you go. There's a link on the site. You can just enter your phone number in there. Put your name in there too, or just text from your phone. Auto converse to 64600, and we will send you the show every week on your phone. Hopefully these guys are opted in. You guys getting the text from us?
You getting the text, Mike?
I got the text. I received the text that we're supposed to wear our blue shirts today.
Yes.
So Jay and I did that. Ryan, are you not opted in?
What do you mean? This is blue. I think.
Oh, you know what's funny is we got the blue and red shirts.
Blue and red?
Not even a political statement. Believe me.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mike, you're on the wrong side of the fence, aren't you?
Whoa.
Guys, I would love to talk politics. I'm actually thinking of doing a Facebook Live between now and the election just to talk about politics on Facebook.
Only because you want to destroy your psyche and your
I was just going to say, yeah, it's it's either that or drive at high speed in an underground parking lot and just ram into the wall.
Yeah.
One of the two.
The concrete dividers, they'd be perfect for that.
Yeah. It's either that or go live on Facebook and talk politics.
And if you did that, you could maybe make the flip of the week.
Do both.
Did you pick the flip of the week for Jay last night, Mike?
No.
I had that sent in actually. It was emailed to me, and so that's flip of the week is getting around. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty catchy. It
is.
So let me update folks here. I'm looking for the link on my side. I have all these links, and then when I need them, I just I can't find the ones I need. Let's see. Anyway.
Links
Mike was
like
on the
that.
show last night. You guys talked about black book prices.
Yep.
Was the main focus. So how was? I mean, give us the lowdown of last night.
Yeah, Mike, how was last night?
It was overwhelming. It was a really good show. It was very data rich. It was almost as if you had selected, if you were in a breakout session at a conference. Would you agree with that?
Wasn't it? I totally agree. It felt like a conference. That's a perfect description. It felt like a conference breakout session.
They really brought the team from Black Book really brought a amazing amount of information. And for me, as being in a used car dealership, having boots on the ground, going through that, because I know a lot of times, and any dealers that may watch your show too, Ryan, I said last night, what's right in front of you. You can see what's right in front of you. And so we're experiencing that live. And so to use the amount of data that they brought to the show to be able to help support what it is that they're forecasting was refreshing. I thought it was refreshing anyway, because I think we all form our own opinions, but oftentimes it takes somebody from the outside to say, well, wait a minute, let me really break that opinion down for you. And here's a different piece of the discussion. So it was a really good show. I thought it was a really good show from a viewer's perspective. And obviously from being on the show, I think you and I did great, Jay. Phenomenal. Nice work.
No, I love your review and analysis. I really appreciate that. And thanks for being a part of the show. And that was great. And what was cool is with you and Ken adding the dealer pain segment to their data, to their massive data segment, helped kind of give that, I thought Ken showed a lot of dealer pain, which is really important because Ty has shown me the way. Focusing on dealer pain will, I think, help a car shipping business not only be more profitable, but understand where they fit in the ecosystem of the purpose of what are we doing.
Sure.
right? We're moving vehicles, we're moving metal. It's ironic that Trade Rev article, something about move metal guarantee, which I think is that, and that to me is an ironic statement. A move metal guarantee. Is there any guarantee when you're moving metal?
No.
How ironic.
Well,
no.
Yeah, you kind of guarantee that you're going to get it there, but I guess there is no guarantee of that either.
That's why
you just
have
said kind of guarantee. That's not a guarantee. You don't kind of guarantee. And that's what makes this space so interesting. Is there is a lot of maneuvering. You know how many brokers say they're like the best in the universe? Drives me nuts.
Or
Stop
dealers. We're the best dealer in town, best prices, best selection, treat you the best.
Or salespeople.
Yeah,
or
oh yeah, exactly. Man, everything's the best. Everybody's the best. Last night's show wasn't the best ever in the universe, but it was great.
It was real.
It
might have been the best ever.
It might.
Up until today at 1 o'clock Mountain Time.
Yeah, exactly. Up until this show, it was the best.
That's why I like coming the day after. You guys learn from your mistakes, and then you come here and make them even better.
You keep compounding the awesome on top of one another, right?
Compounding the awesome.
It's compounded awesome.
Right now, somebody is jotting down compounding the awesome. I got it. Yeah. That's good.
So one of the things that they brought, just as a side note, as you're getting into this, and Ryan, I know Ryan's really good at keeping people on track. So if we get off track, just like the, digital smack there,
I'll just jump right in.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought was really good is I think many dealers thought there would be more pent up demand than there has been. Like from the dealership perspective, when we came out of it, everybody in kind of March, April timeframe, May timeframe, because everything constricted. And then it was like, I think that there was a general thought that, there's going to be so much pent up demand that we're just going to ride this out for the rest of the year. And in my opinion, we saw it constrict more quickly through, in September, as far as public demand for that and such, public demand for used cars or cars in general. And then to hear them say last night, like, hey, you're going to see it break loose, your used car market because of repossessions and some of the other things, which we don't necessarily like talking about, but you'll see that start to loosen up, some prices decrease, creating more opportunities on the front end. So I thought that was good. And no, Amanda says in the chat, has Mike even left his desk?
No, didn't you go get a pizza though?
No, I'm actually currently making a pizza. There's a pizza in the oven that my 13-year-old will have to retrieve for me, since I'm fully committed at this point, Ryan.
I had no idea that Mike, that you and Ty were going to be on Jay's show last night. So I think it's coincidental that it synced up with today with Used Car Week, because it's been 6 weeks, and you remember 6 weeks ago you guys had to run the show because I was stuck on that hurricane.
Oh, was that 6 weeks ago?
That was 6 weeks ago.
Wow,
that hurricane. Yeah. And I got your link, Mike. I want to put that show up on the YouTube channel and process that. So I'll be working on that. But let's focus on you, Mike. You're in Colorado.
I am.
You did a great job keeping us updated kind of month by month throughout the pandemic. You were just talking about pent up demand. And I think looking back, what everybody experienced was a few weeks of deer caught in the headlights. Can't sell cars. Do I want to buy cars? But I think that quickly evaporated, if you will, and demand just continued on. I just read the report that U.S. car sales SAR is now projected at 16.8 million for this year. I mean, that says a lot, because I think a month ago the projection was like 14.5 or 15.5. Sure. Now we're right back up to 17. So all evidence leans towards that the market has effectively fully recovered to where it was expected to be. And I think you're seeing that. Are you seeing that in your store in Colorado Springs?
Fully recovered.
fully
we're always
recovering.
Recovering, I think, is a better term. I mean, in our store in Colorado Springs, yeah, we definitely saw, as I was just mentioning, we saw kind of a spike from some pent up demand. We did see people. One of the unique things, and I don't know that we talked about this, not to get way off track, but one of the things we saw right early on when we were getting back into our store, after we were allowed to through, because of the government restrictions and stuff that we had, was people were waiting longer to service their vehicles because they hadn't been driving. And we're still seeing a little bit of that. So from the service side of it in the dealership, we're seeing people wait longer time periods because they're not driving as many miles. If that makes sense, just basic maintenance and so forth. But as far as the used car market, yeah, we're back in, we normally have sold 150, 160 a month, pretty consistently. Last month we were down a little bit. This month we're tracking similar to last month, but we're starting to see an increase. And it's not, I mean, when we're talking down by 10%, we still profits are holding strong. So as far as a boots on the ground perspective, everything's kind of headed in the right direction. If that answers your question. I know that's a vague.
No, it seems to be. I mean, look, every dealer is obviously going to be in their own, I guess, unique place, right? And their own experience. But generally speaking, the car market seems good. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about wholesale prices in a little bit when we get our used car panel going. Ty will be up here. Ty, make sure you hop up on the Zoom for the panel within the next 10 minutes. I know he's on the live chat.
Yeah.
But there's the little things. So for instance, yesterday I led a panel with Car Gurus. The theme, the name of it was Now What? Auto Dealerships and an Uncertain Future. And you can see here there was Trisha Habucky from Ford. She works with dealers on their merchandising their vehicles. At the national level, she works with dealers. Then there's Jeff Vanderwall. He was on the show last year, and I met him at the Car Guru Summit last year. He runs ClearShift, which you might be familiar with, Mike. And I think he's in the Boulder area, Boulder, Denver area.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I couldn't say the specifics, but yeah.
ClearShift's model has basically just been like all online. Like think of it like Carvana, but more regionalized to that area. And then there was Michael Hoops from Marine Chevrolet down in Florida. And, we focused on a couple things. We focused on what they kind of cliche, but what things they had to change and adapt to, which all dealers did, right? Dealing with social distancing and safety measures and protocols. We got into marketing budgets and, how they're, how they have to merchandise vehicles differently. And I was trying to understand that for Michael, who's at the Chevy dealer in Florida, he said about 2% of their sales were done 100% remotely, 100% to delivery, right? And Jay, I even talked to him about how they were delivering those cars. But Jeff at ClearShift, he says about 30% of their sales are. I mean, that's a huge difference, but that's his business model too. So I'm curious with you. What percentage of your car sales, if you know this, are being done 100% remotely, where the customer's not coming in, even for the delivery? Do you know what that number would be for you?
Probably 1 or 2%. It's very small.
Low. Okay, so it hasn't really increased through the pandemic.
No, I think the efficiency has increased. The ability to do more online has increased. As far as like we as dealers have been able to do, the credit portioning, credit applications and loan shopping and such online for a long time. But as far as, and again, we're unique in Colorado, there are still pieces of paperwork that require by law wet signature for our DMV to process. And there's two specific, you and I have talked about this before. So if the DMV can't get 100% online, at some point we have to, that's why I'm saying 1 or 2%, that it's like, okay, we may literally FedEx a dealer bill of sale, because the dealer bill of sale is one of the items that for us requires a human interaction, as crazy as it is. So, it's probably 1 or 2% is the short answer. As far as increasing the efficiency, it has like our sales packets and being able to get out-of-state co-signers, that has been greatly increased, and that sort of deal. If somebody needs, they moved here for college and they got mom or dad out of state and that kind of stuff, there's a huge benefit to doing more digital packets, digital paperwork, for lack of a really cool term. It is what it is. But somebody that applies online, they do most of the stuff. Most of the time too, unless they're out of state, people are still coming in and wanting to look at the car and take delivery from us. I do think there's still something, and especially right now, you brought up a minute ago, the social distancing piece. Like, people are so socially distant and they're so emotionally distant from other humans. I think there's a lot to be said about creating your own economy and interacting with people. And I know that goes to mindset. That probably goes outside of just exclusively in the automotive industry, because we're often we look at it specifically at the view of, okay, well, we're talking about cars and wholesale and transportation and all the things that are just not emotional pieces of business, right? But there's still a lot of emotional pieces of business when it comes to just human interaction. And I do think that for us, and we've said this within our dealership, one of the things that, whether it's an election year or a pandemic's going on or whatnot, if we're really good at our processes, we're efficient with our paperwork on the front line, business to customer, then we are one of the places, ironically, that our customer can come and receive certainty. They know what to expect. Like, I know I already submitted this stuff online. I know I can go see this car salesman. I know what to expect in the car. They have a clear expectation. So when there's a whole lot of other uncertainty out in the world, as ironic as it is, people just show up and it's like, well, at least I can get a piece of certainty here at a car dealership of all places. So I know that that's not necessarily the direction when we're talking about mobility and connectivity and some of the other pieces of business you talk about, Ryan, but that's something, and that's a driver of mine, So.
Well, you brought up a good point. I saw Amanda just posted in the live chat about emotional distancing. And I never really thought about that, but yeah, we're in an era now where it's kind of socially normal to just ignore other people. Like, you stay there, I stay here, and we'll just keep our distance. Does that have any impact? And if it does, it'd probably be negative, but does that have any impact or alter the customer experience and the transactional experience, as far as you can tell, between the customer and the dealership?
It's hard. We're given where we're at right now with politics and such also, I think it's hard to tell. I think I've mentioned to you before, Jay, I may have said to you as well, one of the things that we notice is in election years, things get all, and this is a technical term, things get all wonky, right? They get all like, people lose their patience, people get frustrated more easily. So you have an election year, which is a really unprecedented election year, stack a pandemic on top of that. And so where you're talking about the distancing and emotional distancing, I think at least initially, when people are contacting the dealership, when people are coming into the dealership on that initial contact, what I've seen is that often people have a shorter fuse. They're like, listen, I want the answers. I want them now. Hey, great. Even as far as like somebody calls in with a question and the normal customary thing, if you and I are conducting business, Ryan, I'd be like, hey, thanks for calling. Yeah, if I could get your name so I can address you properly. Like, that's a comfortable, reasonable conversation to have. No, I don't want to give you my name. I just want this. Right. It's like, is this real life right now? So, but I think once people get into the actual live environment. You remove and we're still socially distancing. I'm not saying you shouldn't, right? We're still 6 feet apart, but at least where you can have a real human interaction with somebody, I think a lot of that veil is removed, the veil of frustration and such. Because then people see like, well, there's still an actual human there. And again, we're talking about it from an independent dealer viewpoint versus, kind of a commercial viewpoint, like a Carvana or something.
Sure. No, that's reality. Independents, franchises, and now you have these national brands like Carvana. I'd put CarMax in there. We're going to talk about CarLotz in a moment. Don't know a whole lot about them, but they were in the headlines. Before we transition over and bring Ty on, Ty, hopefully you're hopping up on the Zoom soon. I think you might be here, so I'll bump you up to panelist and we'll get the panel going. But one final question for you. Subprime, you're an independent dealer. I assume that subprime is a big part of your business. Just an assumption, could be wrong, but where is subprime in your business, in the dealership, and has it fluctuated, moved any way as far as demand goes or interest at the subprime level, through the pandemic and compared to now?
So yes, we do subprime. We used to do a lot of subprime. At one point, we had a buy here, pay here within our dealership, which we moved on from in like 2007. So prior to the 2008 downturn, but our roots were in, used cars and buy here, pay here. So we still have a good reputation for being able to work with subprime customers, subprime financing, near prime, so on and so forth. So for us right now, probably 40% subprime. It used to be higher than that, but right now we do probably 45% subprime or near prime loans. I would say no, that is one demographic that stays consistent, because people that are in subprime don't care what's happening in the stock market, and they don't really, I'm generalizing here, right? I'm not saying they don't care who's president, but if people are in that subprime situation, they don't care about what's going on in the stock market. They don't care necessarily who the president's going to be. Are they going to go vote on November 3rd? Yeah, but guess what? On November 4th, they're worried about how they're going to get to work. That's the reality of it. How can I get a car and how can I get to work? Right. And that's probably most people. So whereas where you have like a prime or super prime customer that is in a position that they're like, well, I'm worried about where my money is headed in the stock market and what's happening there. Well, if I wait a little bit longer to see who the president is and how the stock market does, maybe my money will be it'll be worth more. It'll be increasing. So then I'll buy a car at that point or whatever. I think there is a little bit difference in mentality. So for us, and again, it's just a different sort of demographic, a different mentality, that it's like, hey man, I still got to get up. I still got to get a car. One of the things that we've seen year over year over year, and like I said, our roots are there, is subprime customers. They just want to have a good experience like anybody else. And oftentimes dealers, somebody will show up, and if it's less than a certain score, that dealer doesn't care about the story. Amanda said it in the chat that they view them just as the commodity, right? And they don't care about the story. They don't care what led up to it versus, and so oftentimes those dealers will kick a subprime customer out without knowing who the human is behind that. Hey, what happened to it? And when you slow down and you take time to learn the human, does it mean you can sell 100% of the subprime customers a car? No, of course not. Not today, but at some point you may be able to, and it creates an overall better experience. And at some point that subprime customer, if they're able to get a car, able to get to work, like I keep leaning on that, but it's so basic. At some point, they evolve and move into other positions, and they're telling all their friends about it. And that's why we stayed stable in that area.
Now, you said about 40 to 45% of your business is subprime, but that's lower than it was a year ago?
No, probably the last 3 to 4 years, we've been maybe a 50% split. If you go 4 to 5 years or prior, there were times we were as high as 80% subprime, 70 or 80%. And so that's where like right now for us to say, well, it's 40% subprime. And again, are we advertising separately for subprime versus prime? No, we're just advertising. Like we advertise, and believe it or not, we do have other dealers in our area that'll say, well, gosh, if anybody is able to get you a loan, go see McCloskey Motors because they may be able to get you a loan.
Oh, interesting.
And so, and I'm not, they'll remain nameless. I'm not, to me, that's a little bit of a badge of honor that it's like, hey, we're able to help somebody when either nobody else was able to or nobody else wanted to. And not that they're not able to, but it definitely does take more time invested when you're trying to establish subprime car loans.
Cool. Well, let's keep a pulse on these things. I want to switch us over to the panelist, to the panel, get into some more granular aspects of the business. Also talk about sourcing cars and then delivery and stuff. So, Ty, I'm going to go ahead and bump you to panelist while I kind of set the stage for the panel. But Mike Phillips, everybody, he's our dealer advocate for the used car marketing strategies discussion group here on Auto Conversion. This is one of 6 different programs that we conduct here on Auto Conversion as part of the Auto Retail Marketing Mastermind program. If you go to autoconversion.net, look under the Grow menu and choose Automotive, and you'll see all the different discussion groups that we have. And as you've come to learn every week on the show, we alternate which discussion group to focus on. And today, as you can see, we're on used car marketing strategies. Now, if you'd like to be part of the discussion group, and I don't just mean live on the air, what I mean in general, be part of the discussion group, both during the live discussions, but even behind the scenes, then follow the link I put this in the video description. That'll bring you here. Get yourself registered. Simply register here. It's absolutely free. That'll tag you on our system. It'll send you your Zoom access. You can be part of the discussions. It'll set you up on our member network on Slack, and you'll have access to guys like Mike that are in here and myself and Ty, who you're about to meet. If you haven't met him before, what's going on? Ty, the transport guy, how are you?
Good. How are you, Ryan?
Pretty good. It looks like winter's approaching. Where are you dialed in from today?
I'm in the transport parking lot. It's kind of where I live, outside. Kansas City, Missouri, America's Auto Auction.
Because sometimes you're a little outside of Kansas City or over in St. Louis, but you're in Kansas City. What auction are you in today?
America's Auto Auction.
Oh, okay. That's what you just said. Okay, good. Good. Well, welcome, Ty Thompson, everybody, at America's Auto Auction in Kansas City. Guys, I wanted to focus a little bit on the used car market, and then some industry headlines. As I mentioned, we do appear to be on a path to recovery. According to Ward's sales, the annual rate, the SAR, is now back up to 16.8 million. That's right about on pace where it was expected to be pre-COVID. So I think all signs point towards a recovering market. On the auction side, both Black Book and JD Power Valuation Services are reporting that wholesale prices are continuing to soften even after the rebound this summer following the initial onset of the pandemic. However, both firms are seeing wholesale volume being soft in the auction lanes as we get deeper into autumn. Some numbers for you, just to kind of give us some compare and contrast. Wholesale auction sales of vehicles up to 8 years old for the week of October 11th remained unchanged at 78,000 units, representing the 5th consecutive week that sales failed to surpass the 80,000 unit threshold. Analysts note that sales for the week were approximately 19% lower than what's typically recorded for the period. So, Ty, you're at the auction. Are volumes down, and what do prices look like where you are?
I checked before I got online here. This particular auction, they usually average about 800 to 900 on a consignment sale. Right now, I checked the number. They're still checking them in, but right now we're sitting just a little over 650. So I think we'll hit the number that we're looking for. Traditionally smaller auctions, I consider America's Auto Auction as an independent. And I think part of the reason I think that way is because they are, I don't know this to be true, but I like to use the word autonomous. I think they have some degree of autonomy in management that enables them or allows them to kind of run it like we all know an auction should be run. So whether America's independent or not, I don't know, but I do know it's a great place because, Jay and I'm always in the transport parking lot on Friday, and we get to talk to actual people that work here and see the things that happen. So the volume I see here is solid. The prices, I'll tell you what I have seen, the percentage of the sale, right? So if we have 1,000 cars, we want to have the highest percentage of sale we can get, and there for a while, I mean, this particular auction, and I think other auctions across the states, they were having 80 to 85% sales for over a month. And those kinds of numbers in the auction world are pretty rare. So what I've seen in the last, say, 2 weeks being up here at the auction, this particular auction, is that percentage of cars sold has dropped, and it's hovering somewhere between, say, 60 to maybe 70. So to me, that would indicate, and again, I'm not the rocket scientist like Paul on Black Book, but that would indicate that the prices are still a little bit high, or dealers don't need any inventory.
That would be a twist, because we've been keeping a pulse. I mean, inventory supply has been a true challenge. I mean, that's one thing I wanted to get with you about, Mike, was, are you having trouble sourcing cars that you need because they will sell? Are you having any trouble getting your hands on inventory you need?
Just recently, our biggest need for inventory, and we talked about this some last night, Ty and Jay could probably echo this, and I think Ken said last night on Jay's show, our biggest need right now is big trucks and diesel trucks. And that's posed a bit of a challenge. The everyday bread and butter cars, no, we haven't had, we have a buyer within our store. And so, and we leverage, we have a good relationship, good reputation with a lot of local new car dealers. So we have the opportunity, as new car volume has picked up here also, to be able to pick up some pretty good used car buys. I had asked our buyer last night during Jay's show, I said, what are you seeing in auction volume? And he actually texted me back this morning. He says, we're seeing it. We buy pretty exclusively if we go to auction from Odessa. We do a little bit online, but we physically go to Odessa still here. And he said, yeah, they're seeing volume start to increase where they're at. I think I mentioned last night, we don't do Mannheim, Denver. We have not for some time. So I couldn't tell you that layout and so forth currently, but that's our biggest need is big trucks, big SUVs, diesel trucks.
So like even heavy duty, not so much light car and truck?
Yeah, we haven't had much problem getting light car and truck currently. And when I'm saying I shouldn't say it's a problem, but it's something we have a need for. And there's a growing need for that right now. So
I wonder if that's because of construction.
Could be. I mean, for what we've seen, keep in mind, one of our sales points, one of our showrooms is called McCloskey Truck Town. So there's a certain expectation and certain branding there also. And so we often will have people that come in and they say, well, hey, I want to buy, we'll have individual business owners that want to come in and buy an F550 pickup truck and so forth. And that's something that we've had a tougher time sourcing right now. Okay.
And Ty, can you elaborate on something? You had mentioned normally that auction sees 800 to 900. I didn't know if you meant units per day, and then you said now they're seeing about 650. I just wasn't clear on what those numbers were referring to.
Okay. Typically this auction I'm at, 1,000 cars a week is kind of the goal.
Okay.
A week. So they have a consignment sale once a week. They have the factory program sale for Hyundai, Kia, and Honda. I think it's every other week. And then on the consignment sale, so if you're hitting 1,000, that's a great, pre-COVID, we're hitting 1,000. COVID hits, man, we got 400. Okay, mid-COVID, we're ramping it up. We got 6. Now we're kind of averaging. It looks like we're kind of leveling out, maybe around 800-900-ish. So
Okay.
We're working our way back up. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to get the context. Was it per day seemed high, So
Yeah.
it's per week. And you're saying that they were about half volume, but they're starting to get back to where they had left off.
Yeah.
And that's cars that are moving off the lanes going somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, from a transport guy's side, you know, talking to carriers, guys that are either wanting to be a car hauler or are a car hauler, one of the things I really encourage car haulers to know first is you start in your backyard, talk to the car dealer. Second, know where the auctions are. So, you know, Mike can tell you what I'm saying is right. Mike, you don't send your trade-ins to Kansas City. You send them to the auction probably within 50 to 100 miles or less.
Yeah, south end of town. Yep, south end of town.
Yeah, get rid of them. So I tell the guys, if you know your auctions, now we got to understand what is sale day. So where I'm at right now, I know because I'm here all the time that sale day is tomorrow. So today, if we were to just take a little stroll over here, we can see where cars are being checked in, right? Because tomorrow's the sale. And if you look behind me over here, you can see these guys back here going crazy. These are wholesalers, first class wholesale guys. They run about, 70 to 90 cars in one lane in 1 week. So over here, I don't know how well you can guys see this, but this is where we check them in. See that?
Mm-hmm.
So I've made a lot of friends here, the check-in guys, right? And I talk to them all the time and I ask them questions like, how's it going today? How's your dog and your cat? So we become friends, relationship. And this lane here has been full all morning. Why? Tomorrow's the sale. Make sense? Here we go. See it?
Mm-hmm.
We're checking them in for tomorrow's sale. So that means tomorrow, if you're a transport guy, you want to try to be headed this way because they're going to sell cars. And after the sale's over, the dealer wants them to get on a truck and to go home. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Got to go somewhere.
Yeah. So I think from the perspective of auctions, again, I'm an auction guy. I'll always be an auction guy. I can't argue with Joe at ACV or Backlot Cars or Trade Ref because they've got a valid point. The problem I'm having is trying to figure out what we're going to do next. If nobody can go to an auction, a big name auction, I don't use those names. If they can go to a big auction or can't and go buy, 40, 50 cars, what are you going to do? Does that make sense?
I'm going to follow that thought. So you're going to sit at your computer in front of 8 screens. And after you re-enter from the matrix and you start buying cars, you bought your cars, you haven't talked to anybody face to face. You're going to, I was talking to Paul about this actually. This is me speculating live. You're going, whatever platform you bought the car through, that platform thinks they're going to connect you to a transporter and they're going to take their cut. Isn't that right?
Well, I was going to Friday have you bring that art or wherever you found that.
That email's amazing, isn't it? That email.
I really wanted to talk about it some more because
it is amazing.
Really asinine, stupid, backwards, the worst idea I've ever heard in my life. And somebody should call me and ask me what I think.
So I love that
Tell us about the email.
Yeah, because personally, I'm leading.
I just want to know who he wants to call.
That show that I did on Thursday, Ty. If you can override the passion that I laid out live on Dispatching Live, right? That somebody in the live chat said, "I think Jay's turning red." This email, this Ready Logistics email about Mannheim auction handshake deals. This is better than Hunter Biden's laptop. There, I said it. Ring my bell.
Because it's Ring a Bell Day.
The Odessa one is the one that I'm having a hard time getting over. I can see the Mannheim. They're just weirdos, right?
What's the Odessa email?
The one, I thought it was Odessa you were talking about that says, we'll guarantee your car delivered in 3 days.
Thank you. Okay. That's not even an email. That's a news article. That is a news article where Trade Rev says they have a move metal guarantee
within 3 days from auction
at a flat rate. It is funny. It's
well,
funny.
so here's where I see
Oh my
it, Jay. And
gosh.
this is funny. You want to go into
Oh.
speculation, conspiracy land? I'll go there, because here's the thing.
Oh.
Again, it's like I do this all the time. Watch, I do this just because to illustrate a point. And since we got Mike here, I bet Mike can validate this for us, right? Mike, let me ask you something. You
I'd
see
love
this
to hear
car?
your question, Ty.
You see this?
I do see that.
Okay, that's a Kia what?
I don't know, Sorrento.
Sorrento.
Yeah, Sorrento. Can you see that?
That's the VIN number and 211,000
The miles?
miles.
Oh, that's the wrong one. I thought it was 21,000. Well, we can use this one anyway.
Well,
That's
hey,
a
it's
good
got
looking
250,000 miles.
Nice.
It's all how
That-
you look at it. It's approaching.
Yeah, but look at the car. It looks nice, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to buy that online knowing 211,000 miles? Or would you maybe rather take a quick peek at it and hear it start and run maybe?
I probably would want to hear that one start.
Yeah.
With 211,000 miles.
Yeah, and I think, what are you going to do with those cars or the people that buy those cars? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What are we doing? We don't want you to come to our auction. So let's go swerve back into Jay's email and Odessa's news article. Here we go. This is the one right here.
Okay.
Check
Is
this
it-
one.
Is this a Kia Sorrento as well?
No,
Is there a
that's
trick
not it.
question?
No,
That's a
I'm just
Mazda.
saying.
He's
What I'm
saying
saying is I don't think a guy. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Mannheim and Odessa. What are they known for? They got the big Ford account. They got the big Chevy account. They got the big Chrysler account. These cars that are factory program cars that have 20,000 miles on them. Do I really need to see that car to buy it online?
No, not with 20,000 miles. With 211,000 miles, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, but we can buy cars all day long without
Yeah.
that are under 20, 30, 50,000 miles.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is okay, look at OEM. I've been a car hauler for 20 years. You know what everybody wants to do? It's a car hauler. They all want to haul new cars.
Not
Not me.
used.
No, they want to haul new because it's easy, right? You don't have to go digging a auction to try to find your cars for 4 days.
Right.
Back over there. It's over there somewhere, I think, right? So if you've got the program accounts, the fleet accounts, and you can put those online and everybody can buy them, let's try to emulate, look like, act like OEM in the used car space. So we'll get rid of all these cars. We don't want them. Send them to the independent auction. Let them worry about it. That car with 211,000 miles, right? We just do factory program cars, Enterprise. Remember yesterday, my little video, I met those guys out in the middle of the street loading up Enterprise cars. So if the auction, the big name auction, hey, Justin.
Popular man.
Justin, he's a good guy. Did you see his tow truck?
Barely.
Yeah,
Barely.
kind of.
This guy over here, I'm going to try to rope him in. This is what I do on Friday, by the way. I just walk around and rope people.
Well, let's do the. Go ahead and do that. See if
That's
you
the stars on
can.
the
We
move.
have 10 minutes to go in the discussion group. I wanted to bring up a couple of things, but go ahead, Ty, if you want to bring him in.
Let me see.
Um,
Hey, are you first class? You got a minute? This is a quick question on the wholesale. You wholesale.
I'm the mechanic for first class.
This is real
Mechanic,
life.
that's my favorite.
Folks, you're seeing this
He's
happen
get-
live.
He's getting good
Nice.
at
Ty.
This is cars on
This
the
is
move.
what you
Hello guys, how are you?
Hey.
Hey,
What's your name?
I'm the mechanic for first class.
What's your name?
Sammy.
Sammy, I'm
Yes.
Ty. Nice
Ty,
to meet you.
you too,
We'll
brother.
do another one of those. So tomorrow's sale day.
Yes, we have the cars inside.
And you guys, how many are going to run tomorrow?
Probably 70.
70?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I said a minute ago because I've met Hanny,
Yes.
AU,
Yes.
and there's another one.
Yes.
Joe.
Joe, but Hanny, the
Hanny?
boss,
Hanny's the
Sarah,
boss. Sarah.
and me.
Okay. So tomorrow's the sale and you're going to
Yes.
run 70 cars and
Yes.
your job is to get them ready to go
Yes. Those not for next week.
for next week.
Yes.
But you get all
But
the
already we have them.
Oh, you're ready?
Yes, sir.
These guys don't play around. So I got a question on
Sure.
how many trucks do you guys bring in? You got a lot of trucks
We have a
coming?
lot of trucks, yeah,
You do?
for next week.
Okay. What
Yeah,
kind of
I
There's
miles?
your
are you
trucks,
guys-
Mike.
Yeah, we have like F-150s.
F-150?
The miles between 100 and under.
100 and
Yeah.
under. 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive.
We got 2, 4, whatever we have.
2 hour?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Sam.
You're
It was
welcome,
nice
buddy.
to meet you.
You too.
Have a good
You
evening.
too.
Good day.
Awesome.
So that was Sammy. He's the
You know,
mechanic. Yeah.
Well, what's funny, it's interesting. You're at America's Auto Auction, yeah?
Yep.
And we had just, no kidding, crossed my heart. Within the last 10 days, we were talking to our buyer, and our owner said to our buyer, we were talking about, like Ryan just said, we said, yeah, man, we need more trucks and so forth. And he said, well, go check some of the other auctions that are outside of our area, places like America's Auto Auction. So it's ironic you're there, and then he's saying, oh yeah, we got trucks, we got this. So just an interesting connection live on the air.
Right. But so this is what I try to teach guys. Okay. What I just did there is I was paying attention to what you said earlier, right?
Mhm.
We can't find trucks. We need trucks. We got a truck lot. So I just happened to meet that guy, which I haven't met him before. And
But here we are.
I heard you mention trucks. So one of the things I try to teach car haulers really aren't that smart for the most part, and they don't really know how to run their
Oh,
business.
geez.
I know he does this.
You heard it
every
here
time.
first.
Every time.
Well, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm really not. I'm just saying, really nothing happens in this business until somebody sells something. Right. So as a car hauler, I want to make money and I want to build a business. I need to be paying attention. I need to talk to people. So I'm demonstrating again, this is how you do it. You hang out in the transport parking lot and you talk to people. And those guys there, they move a lot of cars.
And I'm gonna
yeah,
add, Ty, I'm gonna add to what you said, because I was telling Ryan, one of the things that I've noticed, what you just said about car haulers, is that I've definitely noticed there are drivers, truckers, guys that do the loading and unloading that don't want to listen to me talk, because I'm not a driver. I don't load and unload. And so it would seem that the only other folks they want to listen to are folks that do what they do. Well, guess what? It's not exactly how learning happens. Learning happens a lot of the time when you get outside your comfort zone. And Ty, you and I have done that for each other. You've pushed me into the dealer, the front of the store, right? Because you're in the back. And now I'm in the front of the store. You're in the back of the store. And I think we're constantly bringing in new, like Black Book on the show last night. I guarantee there's a driver thinking, well, it doesn't have to do with loading and unloading or equipment. I'm not going to watch that show. Well, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate, because we're talking about the marketplace and where you find cars. Do you find cars on the load board, Ty?
It's okay to know.
Truck. Look at this truck.
What's the 613? What's the 613 on there, Ty?
Can I get that in 3 days guaranteed? I'm just
at a flat rate.
Why'd you got to bring that up?
A flat rate. I'm going to need a flat rate on it, Ty.
Oh yeah, I'll get right on that.
Hey guys, we got 5 minutes pretty much.
5 minutes.
I did want to bring up some developments in the industry, and then end off with something fun. But as I mentioned, the headlines, used car e-commerce platform Shift has gone public on Nasdaq.
Mm-hmm.
That was last week. Its Class A common stock started trading. They had previously announced the merger between the platform and Insurance Acquisition Corp. You know what? Hold on one second. I think what was different. Okay. CarLotz, because Mike, are you familiar with CarLotz at all?
I'm not.
LOTZ? Are you, Ty or Jay?
CarLotz was actually a pretty small deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as far as, because there's a million things going on. So for CarLotz, this is gigantic. That's what I see.
Yeah, they're valuing the company at $827 million. CarLotz is a car consignment store, used car consignment store, and it's going public with a merger with Acamar Partners Acquisition.
Right.
It'll be the third major U.S. car seller to go public this year. So you had Shift that just happened, and then remember Vroom went public, I think, around February. Here's why I brought this up.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
No.
I want to say why I brought this up.
Yeah.
Is what we're seeing is the Carvana model picking up. I think that's what we're seeing. I think that's what these developments show. But go ahead, Jay.
I agree with what you said, and that is true. Is that and it kind of goes back to, there's this crossover between who's the digital auction, where are you buying and selling, and then who's capturing the attention of the online car buyer, and it's all starting to mix, and in Ty's world, it kind of causes some chaos, because now, I think the segmentation grows even further, is that you're going to have, maybe at the independent auction is where you're going to find these vehicles, not the $20,000 program cars that you don't need to see. So you see those are the big name auctions where everybody just buys digitally. Then you're going to have at independent auctions the vehicles that you want to see. Then you're going to have the online car buyers who, and I like that, Ryan, I like that you were asking Mike about level of digital sales, because one, if you only watch TV, which is what I think a lot of people are now doing, right? Because we're not seeing other human beings. If you only watch TV, you might get the sense that Carvana sells every car that's ever been sold. You can't watch anything without seeing a Carvana ad.
Mm-hmm.
Their ad spending must be through the roof,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting, because in auto transport, companies that spend that much money on paying for Google ad leads and ads, it's through the roof too. And if you're searching for online car shipping, or rather, if you're searching online for car shipping, there's only a handful of companies you'll see. The amount of money these companies now spend to capture the eyeballs, and that's what happened with CarLotz. CarLotz just jumped in front of the line for limited concert tickets. And the companies behind these investments know that's the new landscape of the game. And I think as we identify 40,000 plus used car dealers nationwide, that number is going to get smaller.
I was just thinking that too. So CarLotz has 8 locations. I don't know where they are, but they have 8 locations. And I think that these regional and national players, they do have a big advantage when it comes to the wholesale aspect of their business. They have an advantage because they can absorb cars, they can take them on trades, they can acquire them off the streets and move them at the wholesale level, kind of like in a closed circuit TV, kind of like their own internal network. That's what makes CarMax having a competitive advantage. So Mike, to round this off, when you look at the Vrooms and the Shifts and the CarLotz and the Carvanas, but you're here saying, you know what, we do not have an increase in, 100% online remote buying. What I'm curious is it because your customers in that area, that's not what they're asking for? Or is your dealership not providing that as an avenue, or are you, and it's just maybe not working?
No.
And I'm kind of
we
grabbing at straws here.
No, we provide it as an avenue. I'm currently doing truck shopping live with Ty.
I know I'm watching him show all these. That's funny.
Yeah.
Hope you're writing the numbers down, the run numbers.
No, I texted my buyer though. She's not my buyer. She's my wife. But sorry, what was the question?
That sounds like a book.
So
I think I read that book.
So we are offering that as an avenue. That I just think it's something that there's a certain demographic of people that are okay saying, hey, yeah, I'm going to do this all online. Then there's everybody else.
But it seems like what you're seeing is that, and maybe it's because you're in Colorado and it's not even feasible to provide that digital transaction.
There are people that we see go by with cars from Carvana plates here locally and so forth. There are certain people. CarMax, we have a CarMax in our area, and they always do well. We always see them as kind of one of our biggest used car competitors, as far as just specifically used cars. But and we're in a very high tech area, and maybe it is because there are specific pieces that have to be done with a wet signature, but I don't know. I don't have a really good answer for that right now, Ryan. I could keep talking and try and stretch and come up with something, but I don't have a really good answer for it.
And I'm asking you because I have, I guess, my own speculation, and I do think that part of it. I think my part of it is how you is the messaging in your, not just in your marketing, but in your communications with customers. I'll take ClearShift as an example. They're out of
You like that?
they're out of somewhere in Colorado, just kind of near the
Yeah, you're
Denver
taking
area.
Yeah.
mirror or something.
I'm going to mute Ty real
Yeah,
quick.
that's pretty cool.
But they're seeing about 30% of their transactions being done.
Sure.
I use the term remotely. So and that's because that's their model. That's what they've set out to do. That's what they strive to do. And people coming in to get to test drive and do deliveries is still optional. I mean, it's not like they don't have that capability.
Sure.
But that's the foundation of their model.
Well, that's their brand. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Any time that you are more top of mind for anything, going back, and this is a shift in thought pattern, but like for us, we still do compared to many dealers, a lot of subprime. You brought up subprime earlier, and part of the reason for that is just that was part of the branding for years. So that's what we're known for. So like as you're talking ClearShift, it's like, well, if that's their branding and that's what they're known for, then certainly you would hope that that's some of their business that they're attracting. That's the business model.
Well, something to continue exploring, right? And I'll leave it at this. You have public companies that are either regional or national players that are out to gain market share. The competitive advantages they have, one of them is they don't necessarily have to profit. They just have to gain market share. If they start annexing local independents, that's probably what we're going to see. I think it was you or Jay that alluded to that. I think we're going to see that. If you're a small independent lot that does, 30 to 40 cars, why not become an annex to maybe not a Carvana, but like a CarLotz, right? It's a distribution point.
Well, and that's something we were talking about last night is it's going to get to, it's already getting to the point. The digital auction is wherever the car is now. So whether it's in your driveway digital auction happening now. I mean, it seems kind of weird, but I think that's where this is headed, to where you're going to have all these mini auctions. Someone's going to tie them together.
It'll be like the Uber of auctions.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean, where
like, hey, what are you doing? I'm auctioning off my car. I'll be right with you.
I like that. The ability to, I mean, you could maybe do that on eBay. I don't know. As a private seller, I don't know. If
I'm making a pizza and auctioning my car. I'm good I'll be done in an hour. Or
where is your
minutes.
Pizza, Mike? What happened to your pizza?
I have a 13-year-old son that helped me with the pizza, so we're good.
And your car,
Amanda just said that. She said,
you just made a couple grand on your car, and you had a pizza.
I have not had pizza yet because I'm right here. I am present with you and with Ty at the reconditioning center.
Did
Ty,
that for you, Jay?
Oh, there. I thought you were on mute, Ty, because it was so quiet.
I thought he was too,
but it doesn't say.
That's impressive.
Well, look, we're out of time. We do this every 6 weeks. We talk about used cars. We got Mike Phillips here out in Colorado, Ty Thompson, Kansas City. And guys, thanks for making the time to be here. And it's just great getting your presence and your updates and your passion for the business. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for the invitation, guys. Good to see you
Thanks.
and Jay as always, Ryan.
Oh, Mike, I meant to ask.
Oh, Ryan.
Tell us about this Wounded Warrior thing you're doing.
So, okay. Well, this was, Micah Burkholtz.
Mm-hmm.
And so Micah, a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now, tagged me in this 22 push-ups for 22 days challenge. And he says, hey, we need to want to get the word out and try and raise awareness around mental health for veterans and soldiers. And the reason that the number is 22, for anybody who's watching and doesn't know, it's because approximately 22 veterans commit suicide every day in the U.S. And that's the, from the time frame they've measured and so forth, it comes out to 22 veterans a day that commit suicide. Wow. And so Micah challenged me and said, hey man, I want you to do 22 push-ups a day, do it on Facebook Live. And unfortunately, given I have some health constraints, I told him, I said, I don't know if I can pull that off. I got a bad shoulder. I got some other stuff. With some of my kids' athletic equipment, I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. I roped my kids into this with me. And I said, hey, let's do this and try and raise awareness and talk about it. Because with any sort of struggle, I believe the more that we talk about it, the more it removes the stigma, the more that it removes that sort of fear of, well, gosh, we don't want to talk about this because there's a stigma associated with it. So my kids said, yeah, we'll do push-ups with you, Dad. So I figured, okay, if I can't bang out 22 push-ups, which I barely could at the beginning of this, I could do 10, and like each of them could do some also. And the idea behind it was, hey, if you didn't want to do the push-ups alongside, talk to somebody about it, bring an awareness, donate to the Wounded Warrior Foundation, our dealership, and many of the companies I've been with donate to Wounded Warrior and have for a number of years, because it's something that it's just good. It's a great cause. It's a good organization to raise awareness in this arena. And then last night was actually my day 22. Awesome. I have a friend who's a local officer that's heavily involved with Shield 616, Shield 616, which is a police organization. And I tagged them in it because a lot of veterans, people get out of the military and they go become first responders based on their training and such. So it's just something we did literally on a whim. Micah tagged me on it and said, hey, this is a good cause. You want to participate? So we're all talking about it. Some people I know have said, hey, I'm not in on the push-ups, but I'll go donate to Wounded Warrior or donate to Shield 616 and those things. So it was kind of a personal, just a personal deal. And then it became a challenge to, could I actually pull off 22 push-ups, because I've got bad wrists, I've got a bad shoulder, and not to share the complaints, but it's one of those things you realize, just like mental health, you don't realize it's weighing on you at the time until somebody brings it up. And then it's like, oh man, am I going to be able to do this? And so we went through that and helped spread the message. That's good. So you were able to get over that 22 hump, it sounds like. I was, and I've had other people ask. My wife said I need to keep doing them now. She says, hey, you need to keep doing that after the 22 days. So I'll be on day 23 of 22 today. Maybe I'll jump on and tag you, Ryan or Jay. Or good for you. I'm wondering.
Awesome,
on
man.
Facebook.
I'm wondering if Mike had tagged me, because if it was on Facebook, I would not know. I might find out like months later when I go through there.
No, I have a few friends like that. So,
Jay, how many push-ups can you do these days?
I don't know, man. 22 might be around the. I think I can bang out 22, but I don't know if I can get in 23.
Ty, you look like you can do a handful.
I'm good.
I'm good. All
New
right,
plan.
guys, we're out of time. Mike, good stuff on the Wounded Warrior, and
thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to be here.
See you
Enjoy that
guys.
pizza.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks.
See you guys.
All right, Mike Phillips, Ty, the transport guy, Thompson. We are over and out of time. Jay, I'd love to hear any of your final thoughts on today's conversation.
I don't think I am qualified to encapsulate the splendor of Ty. I mean, from Ty's auction tour, I mean, he just gets better at that.
Right,
And
he's feeling really comfortable.
Yeah, he's great at that. And then, great stuff with Mike, and we even worked in the news stories. It was a great show.
One thing I'm trying to cut through, if it's not obvious, I'm trying to cut through the rhetoric and the agendas, the narrative that have agendas behind them. Because just like in politics, in business, companies have agendas, and companies use media to set a narrative. We guarantee we'll ship your car from anywhere within 3 days for a flat rate. That's a lie. As you've pointed out, it's a lie. There's hidden fine print behind it. But advertising is a lie. Advertising is about saying what people want to hear to get them motivated to respond emotionally. But backing it up and delivering on the experience is a different challenge. It's just a different challenge. So again, when I see companies like Shift and Carvana and now CarLotz garnering money, garnering stakeholders to invest into them off the idea that people don't want to go through a dealer and just want to do everything online. But then when you talk to dealers, you don't necessarily see that that's what's happening. And there's a discord there. And I'm just trying to figure out what that is.
Well, and I will say this, like, so Carvana, they had a live event, and it was kind of focused on transportation. It was an interesting event, but the point is, it was posted on LinkedIn, and there was a lot of excitement about it, but there were a couple really unhappy people that had stories of why they were mad. And basically it came down to total lack of communication. So yeah, once again, I mean, if you're going, that's the thing, is somebody let the stakeholders know that if you're going to invest all this money and spend all this money on advertising, pick up the phone for the people that have a problem.
Keep that human connection. And the phone is probably our best tool because you can hear voice inflections other than video. You can hear those voice inflections.
So, and I wonder how many people are out there. How many people in America are out there with an unhappy Carvana experience based on representations made? And I wonder how big that number is.
Well, like anything, as you scale, you run into problems, and obviously, as a company, they have to have a feedback loop, and they have to be able to respond to those and deal with them. So let's leave on a fun note. Sweden's new car carrier is the world's largest wind-powered vessel. How about that? This is a ship to transport cars across the ocean. Might look like a ship of the future, but it harks back to ancient maritime history because it's powered by the wind. Capacity for 7,000 vehicles, 650 foot long. The vessel is the ship. The hull is topped by 5 telescopic wind sails, 260 feet tall each, capable of rotating 360 degrees without touching each other. And the sails can be retracted to 195 feet in order to clear bridges and withstand rough weather.
Did you hear that something about Waymo and Daimler and trucks, autonomous trucks? When I look at this, I see this is a harbinger of the future where heavy transport logistics is electric and autonomous. And for many today, that seems hard to imagine, but I'm pretty sure that is what it's a signal of.
I think that's an astute point. And, I've always said, I feel like autonomous driving, and I don't look at cars driving themselves, just like you have pilots and co-pilots in planes, you have an engineer on trains, right? But there's a lot of autonomous technology behind them.
Yes.
I see that in trucking. I see that. I'm surprised that we aren't farther ahead with that in trucking. And as you just pointed out, this is like super massive transport, in this case, across the ocean. And yeah, autonomous technology is what's moving these things. That's very accurate.
And and particularly with Auto Transport Intel, I believe that by paying attention to Auto Transport Intel, you're going to be a part of that evolution into, you're not just the truck driver, you're now the engineer of the moving vehicle that you sometimes drive.
Yep.
And then if you want to just stay the traditional driver, there will become a decade or a day or whatever where that job just isn't there anymore the way you used to do it.
Think about crane operators on shipyards, right? 10, 15 years ago, it was 100% human and done human. Now you can almost have like 2 or 3 people in a room that are using these cranes as like remote control robots,
right?
Where they're not actually operating that one. They can operate multiple throughout the day.
And I'm not here to weigh in on what I think of that. Nobody cares.
It's just happening.
But it is happening.
It's happening.
It's happening.
Definitely happening. All right, everybody. JW, Ryan G here in the Mobility Tech and Connectivity Show. Jake, great being up here with you as always. See you in
thanks so
2
much.
weeks, right?
Sounds like a plan.
And
Be back in 2 weeks.
And go to autotransportintel.com to check out Jay's website, get subscribed to his YouTube channel. And speaking of, go to autoconverse.com and same deal. Get subscribed to the blog, subscribe to our YouTube channel, sign up for the show. You can be in the loop. Sign up for our VIP access. Go to autoconverse.com and look for information on our show. Subscribe to the podcast. Just search for Autoconverse on your preferred podcast app. And if you want these shows texted to you on your phone, text the keyword Autoconverse to 64600. I'm Ryan Girardi. Thanks again for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your week. We'll be back next week. It'll be Advanced Auto Retail will be the focus of next week. Still putting together the spread for that, but we'll be here same time, same place next week. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you soon.